Hey, what's up? It's John. It's March 13th, about 9 p.m., sitting down for my last meal, and actually it's going to be quite tasty. What do we got? We got about 185 grams of egg white liquids, just cooked in a skillet, as well sauteed some cherry tomatoes, some onions and mushrooms, and spinach, and also garnished it with some black pepper, garlic powder, and some sriracha sauce, which if you've seen my videos, you know I pretty much put sriracha into everything. Wanted to check in today, talk a little bit about where we're at. I actually want to show what I've been doing over the last 10 days, or what I'm doing for the last 3 days, since today is technically peak week. My peak week planning actually started 3 days ago, so I planned about 10 days out, day by day. Wanted to show what that's about, and then do a quick check-in on the physique. We're really at crunch time now. Dieting wise, it's been so hard. Yesterday I actually had a social event at a place called the Sandbox, which is like a sandy area, not on the beach, it's on a bayside, but they got food trucks there. Kids loved it. A lot of people having fun, drinking, eating food from a truck, and I show up with a big water jug and brought my own little Tupperware of food. Today I actually was at a brewery because my sister-in-law's husband was celebrating his 35th birthday, so I went to the brewery. A lot of snacking, people doing around me, a lot of tasty beers. I actually did sample a 5-ounce of light wheat beer, which I did count as part of my macros. It was delicious, but that was the extent of it. And then tomorrow is Mother's Day, so I'm going to my sister-in-law's, and my sister-in-law, and she's having everyone over, so I'm gonna actually have to bring my own breakfast. So dieting wise, it's been incredibly hard. My macros right now, actually until today, were about 17 to 1800, about 200 grams of protein, which is always constant. My carbs dropped to around 110 to 120, and my fat was around 50, 55. So that has been really hard. I mean, the way the day's been going is kind of like, in the morning I actually have a really good meal, so I get to the gym and feel good, and then the meal I have after the gym is good, but that's around 7, and then I have another meal at around 10:30, 11. So from about 4:30 when I have my first meal in the morning to about 11 a.m. is pretty decent, but from 11 to when I go to sleep, I mean, it's really a lot of portion control, and I'm hungry like the entire day. I'm drinking a lot of tea and coffee to try to stimulate my hunger, and doing whatever I can to take my mind off of it. My weigh-in has been really great. I hit a personal low of 174.4, and probably not gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna if I'll be that way on comp day, because I'm gonna be loading up on carbs during this week. But today, you know, the physique looked awesome in the morning after my workout, and really pleased, really proud, and it's been an incredible journey. And I wrote some not blog, but I wrote an article or post on my Facebook page today, and it was a particular quote that stuck out to me that I said, which is something like, big, bold goals do require sacrifice, and if you're not able to sacrifice it, then the goal itself will be sacrificed. And that rings true so much. I mean, over the last almost 6 years, my life has been really focused to a large extent on trying to meet what I'm doing right now. I never had a goal in day one. I never had a goal of doing a competition. The competition came out of something where I said, like, what could I do next? But just even before I decided to do the competition, my body changed so much. But the only reason it changed so much is because I had incredible discipline over the long term, and I had a crystal clear vision of what I wanted. And another thing I said on the Facebook post was, I'm not where I'm at because I'm an exceptional person. I'm at where I'm at because I did simple things exceptionally well. I went to the gym on average 5 days a week for on average 90 to 120 minutes. I ate right, and I did a lot of that many times when I didn't feel like it, but I did it anyway. And I would say, you know, like, the amount of discipline I have on a daily basis, from spending 2 hours a day of preparing my foods for the next day, going to the gym, doing everything I need to, staying on course, is incredibly hard. And many people probably wouldn't be interested to do something like that for a month. Nevertheless, for almost 6 years. And that's fine, right? The point I'm making is, getting to what you want is going to become incredibly hard, but if you want it, it's not work. It's the journey you are enjoying. It's the current kind of person you're becoming along the way that you love. When I look in the mirror, I'm definitely not the same person that I was 6 years ago when I took that very first picture, which started the journey to begin with, when I was, out of shape and I wasn't happy with the way I looked. And to top it off, I had my young daughter, telling me I had a big belly. I mean, these are the sort of things that were traumatic for me that kind of set me on the course to say, like, this is what I want, this is what I'm capable of, I'm good enough for it. And, it also helps when you have people around you that are supportive. As you heard me say earlier, I spent a lot of time, probably the last year and a half to 2 years, planning my meals out meticulously. And I did it on my own. And the times that I did it were, a lot of the times in the beginning, I was trial and erroring it. I was, sucking up a lot of time at night. And then as time went on, you kind of got better and better at it. But in the end, no matter how good I got at it, there's always a sacrifice. And a lot of times the sacrifice I had to make was preparing my foods for the following day, like at night after the kids went to sleep, and my wife's in another room watching TV, and that's obviously not easy. But when you have people who support you, it really helps. And then as time went on even more, I try to be very creative, and any pockets of time I got during the day, when kids are in school or I had a little bit of downtime with work, I would go make a meal or two and really try to compress the time it takes to food prep. So these are all things like ringing in my ear when I sit and look. 7 days from now, I'm going to be standing on a stage, and this has been something that has been so hard to get to. You really just start thinking about all that went into making this possible. And I did this 100% with pure grit and determination and effort. I never once in my life have experimented with steroids or any performance-enhancing drugs, which I know many people won't believe. As a 45-year-old guy, typically guys in their 40s lose their testosterone, they lose their muscle mass. I don't know what to say. I don't and never ever tried any kind of drugs, and I have an exceptional routine, an exceptional discipline, and I have been doing this for many years, day in and day out. And maybe I do have some good genetics, I don't know. I didn't start working out 5 years ago. I've been working out ever since I was 16 or 17 years old. But at that time, and even until I was 40, I never really had goals that took me this far. My goal was, I want to look good in a bathing suit. And by the time the bathing suit weather came, I would, fall off. I didn't really care. I would enjoy the summer. I would drink. I would eat. And then when the summer was done and we're back in wintertime, I'm back to what I would call old habits, or just not really eating or working out with any sort of goal in mind. But we know exactly what you want and know exactly what you're interested in. It makes it easy. In fact, let me show you something really quick. I'm a big believer in visualization, and if I want something, I try to keep myself visualized on it by putting reminders around the house. This picture here, if you're familiar with this picture, that's actually a picture, believe it or not, of the actor Zac Efron in Baywatch. And when I first started this journey, that was what I said to myself. I wanted to look like this. And I would look at this picture, not even lying, every morning when I'm eating breakfast. I would stare at it for 30 seconds, saying, this will be me one day. And now when I look in the mirror, that is me. And seeing me get this way is amazing, because this is everything I did kind of was surrounded with this image in mind. And now when I look in the mirror and I see that I had this, getting to this was incredibly hard. So that's really what I wanted to catch up on and talk about. I'm going to eat the meal, and then after the meal, I'm going to quickly talk about my routine, and then also take a look at the physique. So I'll check in soon. All right, I wanted to quickly show you the peak week planning. Technically a week out today, Saturday, May 13th, but I actually started just tracking some stuff on the 3rd because I wanted to cut even a little bit more before I go back up. So you see in terms of my workouts, which is the top line, pretty much keeping my workout schedule, which is push-pull legs to normal. That takes you all the way to the 9th. The second line, you see my cardio. I try to do 30 to 40 minutes of cardio, high intensity training, which is HIIT. That's just basically for, like, let's say I'm doing it for 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, and then I alternate walk a minute, sprint a minute. And I do that to get my heart rate up and the bursts of energy helps my body go into my fat for energy and carbs, so keeps me lean. In terms of my diet, see, actually on the 3rd was 160 protein, 160 carbs, 200 protein, and 50 fat, and then that went down to 140 grams of carbs, 140. On the 6th, it went down to 120, and it's kind of stayed that way up until today, the 13th. See, as you come down here, 11th to 12th. I'm starting to increase my carbs as of today. I'm drinking about a gallon of water a day. Sodium is normal, which I have 2,000 to 2,500 milligrams of sodium. The NHA, National Health Association, recommends around up to 3,000 milligrams of salt. So a little bit below that, but that's just what I am keeping. And a lot of people ask me, am I manipulating my sodium and my water? Because a lot of people who talk about prepping for competitions talk about depleting their body of water, and I decided not to do that. I've seen enough scientific evidence and information that shows that maybe it's not necessary to deplete your body of water. It may not even be safe. I'm 45 years old almost. I don't want to mess around with my health. I'm not doing this for a living. I don't make any money. You know, I'm not relying on this. My livelihood's not relying on this competition, so I'm not really interested to screw around with my body and nature. So I'm actually going to keep my water intake pretty much the same, but I am going to manipulate my sodium a little bit as the days get closer to the competition, because I understand that increasing your sodium intake a couple of days before could have an impact on the dilation of your blood vessels, and the blood vessels will give you a lot of vascularity. But after just like 2 days or so, your body will sort of normalize it. So that's one thing. But basically, the green says that I met the goals. So again, basically the week up until the 10th, you see is with the reduced calories, kind of as it is. The bottom here in red is like crunch time, and still 2 days of, on Thursday, yesterday, and today, normal workout, normal cardio. Macros actually were consistent until Saturday the 13th. I increased it a little bit from 120 to 160 because I increased my carbs. I reduced my protein from 200 to 180-ish. And the fats, I don't know why I have 60. It's more like 50, 55. But trying to keep the calories at around 1,900. Now tomorrow I'm off as usual, which is other thing is I really want to focus on increasing my sleep. So I normally get 5.5, 6 hours of sleep. I want to get at least 7. Start exfoliating my skin for the tanning. Do that a week in advance. But tomorrow I'm off. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, but still want to get in cardio. Keep water and sodium the same. Now let's kind of look. Monday, you'll notice at the top, I'm going to still work out, but not go as heavy. So I wouldn't call it a normal workout. I'm going to stay 80% of normal, no failure, no workouts till failure. Stick with the cardio. Look at the carbs. From the Sunday, it's going to go up to 170. I'm going to virtually almost double that on Monday. The reason I'm doing the carb loading in the front of the week is I want to give myself enough time to modulate how I'm doing, see how the body is reacting. Instead of carb loading like a day or two before, if something doesn't seem right, I won't have enough time to fix it and course correct. So I'm going to really introduce a lot of carbs on Monday, but not really go crazy with my overall calories, which is why you see my protein come down even more from 180 to 150, and keep the fats about the same. Tuesday, I'm now going to lower my carb a little bit, increase my protein a little bit, still work out, but a little bit below normal. Sodium and water is the same. Let's take a look at Wednesday. So Wednesday, legs, reduce the cardio just a little bit. Macros, still reducing the carbs, proteins, a little bit higher, fats, water, sodium, sleep. That's all staying the same. I did give myself, I signed up for a massage. I actually had these gift cards for almost 2 years. Luckily, they're still how to balance on them. So I'm going to treat myself to a massage and relax my muscles, maybe squeeze out any toxins in the muscle tissue. Don't know if that's a fallacy, but it'll feel good nevertheless. And I'm also going to get my final InBody Scan, which if you're not familiar with InBody Scan, go to my website, fathersfindingfitness.com. I did an incredibly in-depth article about what an InBody Scan is, how it could aid you in your journey to tracking your body's progress. Last one I did wasn't too long ago. It said I had 3% body fat, which these things aren't accurate. I know I'm likely not 3, but probably more like 7, 6 or 7 at this point. So now we're at the 18th, which is Thursday. I will take off. So Wednesday, the 17th, will be my last workout until comp day. And the only thing I'm doing on comp day is some pump type exercises. Reducing cardio a little bit, moderate intensity. My macros, I'm going to stop having vegetables and very low fiber to avoid any kind of issues in my gut, getting any gas issues, digestion problems. So I'm really limiting or removing veggies and very low fiber, lowering my carbs a little bit from 240 to 200, increasing my protein. And also, I'm slowly increasing my sodium. So sodium is usually 2,000 to 2,500. I'm going to get at least 2,500 on that Thursday. And a lot going on Thursday. I'm going to get a haircut. I was told by the tanner to paint my nails with a clear polish to avoid them turning green. I do have a final posing class on Thursday at 2 o'clock. I need to shave my body in preparation for the tanning, and I'm also going to prep my meals for Saturday morning because Friday I'm actually going to leave in the afternoon to the hotel. Don't have time to do it on Friday. So let's take a look at Friday. This is the day before comp. No working out, very little cardio, just basically walking. My macros, I am going to take my carbs down a bit more because they should have kind of been bulked up through the carbs in the front of the week, and really increasing my protein. Look at the sodium. I'm virtually doubling my normal sodium volume on Friday. And sleep, no difference. I get some cash for the polygraph test. I have a polygraph appointment. And yes, you're reading that right. The association I'm doing, OCB, has a polygraph test to basically be one lever to see how to get people who are taking steroids found out. They also do urine samples. My tanning appointment on Fridays at 7:15, and then I have to start increasing my sodium a little bit more in the second half of the day. And then Saturday, this is comp day. I go on stage at 10:30 in the morning. So basically, I will not work out. I will not do cardio. I will have my first meal at 4:30 in the morning. I'm going to have about 50 grams of carbs, 10 grams of protein, and just a little bit of fats. After I eat, and you see what look what I'm going to eat is a little bit of beef, some sweet potatoes, and a little bit of water and salt, about 1,000 milligrams of salt. After I eat, I'm going to do a 10-minute pump with bands, and that goal is to take whatever food I just put into my body and have my muscles suck in the carbs and work off what it can, and not have any water spill over. Take vitamin C with water to keep my immunity high. And then I'm going to sip about 10 ounces of water until my next meal, which is every 2 hours. So from between 4:30 and 6:30, I will sip 10 ounces of water and hopefully have 5 ounces an hour. Then at 6:30, I'm going to have meal number 2. I'm going to have some kind of protein bar, a small banana, and some water and salt. Carbs 40, protein 10, a little bit of fat, get another 1,000 milligrams of salt. So by 6:30, I have 2,000 milligrams of salt in my body. Again, sip about 10 ounces of water till my next meal, 5 ounces of water per hour. Another 2 hours after that, at 8:30, I'm going to have a bit bigger of a meal. I'm going to have, I have to figure it out, but a meal that gives me 75 grams of carbs, 20 grams of protein, and 15 grams of fat. Another 1,000 grams of sodium. So now we're at 3,000. So 3,000 grams of sodium in the first 4 hours of my day. That's a lot. I mean, I normally take 2,500 on a daily basis. This is 3,000 in the first 4 hours. At this point, I do another workout, a short workout with bands. Now my body should start really reacting. I should see a lot of vascularity, fullness in my muscles, hopefully. And then I'm only going to sip water on an as-needed basis. I'm not worrying about drinking any more water, but I'm just going to sip when I need to feel somewhat hydrated, but not overdo it. At 10 o'clock, 30 minutes before I go on stage, I'm going to have 2 rice cakes and a little bit of peanut butter and sprinkle some salt on there. And then 5 minutes before I go on stage, I'm going to have some kind of small candy bar, maybe Reese's peanut butter cup, a little bit of protein with some, get some energy from the peanut butter and then some salt. And then 10:30, I'm on. So that's basically my plan. And that's the goal. So spend a lot of time working on that. I didn't invent the ideas. I got a lot of my ideas from a guy I follow, and the guy who was a co-founder of the app I use called Carbon, and his name is Dr. Lane Norton. And he is a really knowledgeable guy. He's got his PhD in protein. He got a PhD and his thesis was protein synthesis. So it understands how muscle is built. Holds a world record in the past for either squatting or deadlifting. So he practices what he preaches. He was a professional bodybuilder, so he did competitions. And he talks a lot against some of the so-called bro science that really highlights high depletion of water, high manipulation of salts, and explains why it's not necessary and maybe even a bad idea and unhealthy to do that. If you're interested, Lane Norton is his name. Would recommend you looking at him, and he does a lot of good content and backs up everything he says with studies, which is what I like. So that's it, guys. The other thing I wanted to do was to show a physique. I will actually just put on here to some music the posing I did after my workout early this morning. And I'll check in next time I'm available, maybe in the next few days or so. So thanks for checking this video out, and check in with you soon.